I thought I upgraded when I cheated, until I realized I was never chosen, only used when he was lonely. I was in his bed when the text came through. Not my fiancé's bed. The other guy's. Tyler. The one with the corner office on the 47th floor and the watch that cost more than my car payment for a year. The one who made me feel seen in a way Ryan never did anymore. That's what I told myself, anyway, when I was ignoring the fact that Tyler only texted after 10 p.m. and had never once asked me to meet his friends, his colleagues, or anyone in his actual life. Ryan and I had been together 6 years. Engaged for 8 months. The ring was princess cut, exactly what I pinned on Pinterest when I was 23 and still believed in fairy tales. He was steady. Kind. Reliable in ways that used to make me feel safe but somewhere along the way started making me feel suffocated. The type who remembered my coffee order down to the specific number of pumps of vanilla. Who rubbed my feet after 12-hour shifts without being asked. Who planned our budget spreadsheets and talked about 401k contributions and reminded me to schedule my dentist appointments. Boring, my friends said. Safe. Predictable. You're 28, my coworker Bree kept saying over vodka sodas at happy hour. You really want a lockdown missionary position at 9 p.m. with the lights off for the rest of your life? You're not even married yet. This is your last chance to know what else is out there. She made it sound reasonable. Like I owed it to myself to explore. Like settling down with Ryan meant settling, period. So when Tyler from corporate started paying attention during the quarterly meeting, I let it happen. When his eyes lingered on me during my presentation about Q3 projections, I didn't look away. When he found me afterward and said my analysis was impressive, sharp, better than half the senior team, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Visible. Valued. Like someone worth pursuing instead of someone already obtained. When he asked for my number to discuss the project further, I gave it. My hands were shaking when I typed the digits into his phone. The first text came that night. Nothing inappropriate. Just a follow-up question about market segmentation. But there was something in the tone. Something that felt like more. The messages got longer. More personal. He asked about my weekend plans. Sent me a funny article at midnight with thought of you. Started every morning with good morning before Ryan even woke up. When discussing the project turned into late-night texts turned into drinks, a hotel bar downtown turned into his apartment in the building with the doorman and the marble lobby, I went. I told Ryan I was meeting Bree. I told myself it was just drinks. Just talking. Just seeing what it felt like to be wanted instead of expected. But I knew. The second I put on the black dress instead of jeans. The second I reapplied lipstick in the car. The second I turned off my location sharing with Ryan because my phone was glitching. I knew exactly what I was doing. I told myself I deserved this. Ryan had gotten comfortable. Complacent. We hadn't had a real date in months, just Netflix and Thai food on the couch. He was focused on his promotion, on saving for the down payment on a house in the suburbs, on being responsible and planning for a future that felt more like a cage than a dream. He talked about mortgage rates and school districts and retirement planning. He'd stopped trying to impress me. Tyler made me laugh. Made me feel like I was 22 again, not someone's predictable future wife. He listened when I talked about my career goals like they actually mattered. Ordered expensive wine without looking at the price. Talked about trips to Santorini and Bali like they were weekend plans instead of Pinterest boards. Made me feel like I was the most fascinating woman in the room instead of someone who'd become part of the furniture. The sex was different too. Urgent. Exciting. Unpredictable. Tyler would pull me into his apartment like he couldn't wait another second, press me against the door before it even closed, tell me I drove him crazy. Ryan would ask if I was too tired, if I wanted to shower first, if I needed to be up early tomorrow. The passion had died somewhere between year 3 and the engagement, replaced by comfortable routine that felt more obligatory than electric. I started picking fights with Ryan about nothing just so I could storm out and end up at Tyler's door. He forgot to pick up milk. He didn't notice my haircut. He spent too much time on his fantasy football league. Anything to justify the anger I needed to feel to do what I was doing. 3 months in, I was living 2 lives. Sweet fiancé during the day, someone else entirely 3 nights a week. I'd gotten good at the lies. Stored Tyler's number under Bree work in my phone. Kept a change of clothes in my car. Learned exactly how much wine I could drink to smell like I'd been at happy hour but not so much that Ryan would question it. I wasn't stupid. I saw the signs. Tyler never wanted to go out to actual restaurants where people might see us. Never posted about me on his Instagram that showed golf trips and galas. Got weird and vague when I suggested meeting on weekends. Work's crazy, he'd say. Let's keep this low-key. I like having you to myself. I told myself he was private. Classy. Not like the guys who blast their relationships all over social media like teenagers. When I asked about making things official, about where this was going, he'd kiss me and say let's not put labels on it and I just got out of something complicated and you're so mature for not needing all that relationship stuff. I accepted it because the alternative was admitting what this actually was. Bree kept cheering me on. Asking for details. Living vicariously through my bad decisions. You're glowing, she'd say. Ryan never made you glow like this. She was right. I was glowing. I was losing weight from the adrenaline, the sneaking around, the constant anxiety. I looked good. Felt alive. Felt like I was finally living instead of just existing in Ryan's 5-year plan. 3 months in, I was at Tyler's place again. Wednesday night. 11 p.m. Ryan thought I was at my sister's place helping her paint her nursery. She'd agreed to cover for me, reluctantly, after I begged. This is a mistake, she'd said. Ryan's a good man. But she was my sister. She lied for me anyway. I was scrolling through my phone while Tyler was in the shower, already mentally preparing my exit story, when I saw Ryan's location suddenly ping at my sister's building. My sister's building. Where I was supposed to be. Then my sister's name flashing on my screen, urgent, multiple calls. My stomach dropped. He's here, she whispered when I answered. Ryan's here. He came to surprise you with dinner. Brought your favorite Thai food and flowers. He said you'd been stressed and he wanted to do something nice. I told him you weren't feeling well and went to bed early but he wants to come up and check on you. He's insisting. Where the hell are you? My blood went cold. The room spun. Tyler was singing in the shower, completely oblivious. Stall him, I hissed. Tell him I'm sleeping. Tell him anything. I'm on my way. I left Tyler's place without explanation, grabbed my clothes, didn't even say goodbye. Drove like a maniac across town, ran 2 red lights, my hands shaking so hard I could barely grip the wheel. But Ryan's car was already gone from my sister's street when I got there. Her lights were off. She wouldn't answer my calls. When I got to our apartment, every light was on. He was sitting on the couch. No TV. No music. Just sitting there in the dark with his phone in his hand, still wearing his work clothes. The Thai food containers were on the counter, unopened. The flowers were in the sink. Took you 18 minutes, he said quietly. Not looking at me. From your sister's place that's, 6 minutes away. Even with traffic? My mind raced through excuses. Store. Gas. Wrong turn. Ryan, I can explain. Don't. His voice wasn't angry. That would have been better. Anger I could work with. This was flat. Empty. Dead. I already know. He held up his phone. Find my friends. The app I'd forgotten we shared. The app I'd turned off location for but apparently had turned back on automatically after the last update. The little dot that showed exactly where I'd been. For months. A detailed history of every Wednesday and Friday night. Every late Tuesday. Every lunch hour that ran long. The same address over and over. An address that wasn't my sister's. Wasn't work. Wasn't anywhere I'd said I'd be. Ryan, please, let me. I already looked him up, he continued in that terrible monotone. Tyler Chen. Senior VP. Married. 3 kids. 2 boys and a girl. Ages 8, 6, and 3. The words hit me like a physical blow. Married. The room tilted. The air left my lungs. No. No, he'd said he was single. Recently out of something. He'd said. I talked to his wife an hour ago, Ryan continued, each word precise and devastating. Rebecca. Nice woman. Devastated, obviously. Crying so hard she could barely speak. Apparently you're not the first. There was another one from his office last year. Lauren, I think she said. And one before that. Melissa. He has a type, Rebecca said. Young. Ambitious. Dumb enough to believe he's actually leaving his family. He tells them all the same thing. That his marriage is over. That he just needs time. That they're special. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. Everything I'd believed for 3 months was disintegrating in real time. She sent me screenshots, Ryan said. Of messages from the other women. Warning her. Trying to tell her what he was. She stayed anyway. For the kids. She knows he'll do it again. She just didn't think it would be so soon. Ryan, I didn't know. You didn't want to know. He finally looked at me and I saw it. Everything I killed. Everything I destroyed. You had to have seen the signs. No weekends. No holidays. No social media. Never met anyone in his life. Only available at night. But you didn't ask questions because you didn't want answers. He was right. God, he was right. He stood up. There were 2 suitcases by the door I hadn't noticed. His clothes. His toiletries. The framed photo of us from our trip to Colorado, face down. I'm done, he said. The ring's on the counter. I called my lawyer this afternoon. We can split the lease buyout however you want, but I'm out by Friday. I already found a place. We can fix this, I begged, hearing how pathetic I sounded at not caring. I made a mistake. I'll never see him again. I'll do anything. Therapy. Whatever you want. Please. You made a choice, he said, and his voice finally cracked. Just a little. Enough to show me the pain underneath. Every time you lied to my face. Every time you kissed me goodbye and drove to his place. Every time you let me make plans for our future while you were fucking him. You chose. Every single time. I love you, I sobbed. I love you. Please don't leave. You don't cheat on people you love. He picked up his suitcases. You just don't. And now I'm choosing. I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing someone who will actually want the life I'm offering instead of throwing it away for someone who is never going to choose her. Ryan, please. I hope it was worth it, he said. And then he walked out. Didn't slam the door. Just closed it with this terrible, final click. I stood there for an hour. Maybe more. Just staring at the closed door. At the ring on the counter. At the flowers dying in the sink. I called Tyler 17 times that night. Every call went to voicemail. Texted him everything. That his wife knew. That my fiancé knew. That everything was falling apart and I needed him. Finally got a text at 3 a.m. My wife knows. Don't contact me again. This was a mistake. I'm blocking you. A mistake. 3 months of my life. 6 years with Ryan thrown away. Our future. Our home. Everything. For a mistake. For a man who called me a mistake and blocked me before sunrise. Part 2. Tyler blocked me on everything within 24 hours. Phone. Instagram. LinkedIn. Email bounced back. When I showed up at his office building on Thursday, security stopped me in the lobby. Apparently I'd been flagged. His assistant came down instead of letting me up, looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe, and told me Mr. Chen had made it very clear I was not to contact him. He's married, she said, loud enough for the security guard to hear. Loud enough for the people waiting in the lobby to turn and stare. He has a family. Leave him alone. I stood there in the marble lobby where I'd felt so sophisticated just days before, and felt every eye on me. Home wrecker. That's what they saw. That's what I was. Ryan moved out that Friday morning like he said he would. 9 a.m. exactly. I'd barely slept, had rehearsed everything I wanted to say, but when he arrived with his brother and his best friend Mike to help load boxes, he didn't even look at me. Communicated everything through them. Ryan wants to know if you're keeping the coffee maker. Ryan says he'll take his half of the furniture next week. Ryan needs you to sign this. I tried to talk to him directly. He put in earbuds. Physically turned his back when I approached. When I touched his arm, he flinched like I'd burned him. Mike, who'd been in our wedding party, who I'd known for 4 years, looked at me with pure disgust. I told him you weren't good enough for him, he said while loading Ryan's desk. Glad he finally sees it. They were gone in 2 hours. The apartment looked gutted. Half empty. Haunted. Our pictures were gone from the walls, leaving lighter squares on the paint. His side of the closet was empty. His toothbrush gone from the holder. The bathroom shelf where his cologne used to sit was bare. I found a note on the kitchen counter later, in his handwriting. Just one line, I really thought you were different. I called his phone 30 times that day. Every call went to voicemail. Texted him novels. Apologies. Explanations. Begging. Everything went unread. He blocked me too. When I tried to show up at his new apartment the next week, his brother answered the door. He doesn't want to see you, he said. If you come back, he'll file for a restraining order. He's serious. His friends, our friends, the people we'd spent weekends with for years, stopped answering my calls. Group chats I was in went silent, then I realized I'd been removed. Emma, who'd been one of my bridesmaids, posted a quote on Instagram, "Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend." The comments were full of people I knew. Agreeing. Cheering her on. My Instagram comments filled with people who'd heard the story. Ryan hadn't said anything publicly, but word travels. Friends tell acquaintances. Bree had apparently told the whole office. Home wrecker. Hope it was worth it. Imagine throwing away someone like Ryan for a married man at LOL. You deserve everything coming to you. I made my account private, but the damage was done. My follower count dropped by half in a week. People I barely knew were unfollowing me. Making a statement. 3. The coworker who'd encouraged this whole thing, who'd pushed me to explore my options and live a little, suddenly got distant when I tried to talk to her about what happened. I didn't tell you to blow up your life, she said over coffee, not quite meeting my eyes. I said flirt, have fun, not fuck a married man and destroy your engagement. That's on you. You said Ryan was boring, I reminded her. You said I deserved better. Better doesn't mean married, Jesus. She looked around the coffee shop like she was embarrassed to be seen with me. Look, I can't be associated with this. HR is already sniffing around because of Tyler. I have a career to think about. She stopped texting me after that. Work became unbearable. Everyone knew. Tyler's wife Rebecca had called HR with everything. Emails. Messages. A full timeline. I wasn't fired, they couldn't prove I'd done anything illegal, but I might as well have been. The looks. The whispers that stopped when I walked into a room. Meetings I wasn't invited to anymore. My boss started ceasing everything, creating paper trails, clearly building a case to push me out. I requested a transfer to another department. Got denied. Not a good fit right now. Started job hunting, but my reputation had somehow leaked into the industry. This field is small. Everyone knows everyone. Word travels fast. 3 interviews where things were going well until they weren't. Until the energy shifted. Until I could tell they'd made calls. Done research. Found out who I was and what I'd done. We'll be in touch. They never were. My sister let me cry on her couch, but even she couldn't hide the disappointment. The judgment. Ryan was good to you, she said, holding her pregnant belly while I sobbed into her throw pillows. He would have given you everything? A home. A family. Stability. And you threw it away for what? A guy who was never going to leave his wife? I didn't know he was married, I said for the 100th time. You didn't ask, she corrected. Because you didn't want to know. Because it was easier to believe the fantasy. My mom called every day at first, then every few days, then weekly. The conversations got shorter. More strained. She'd loved Ryan. Had already been planning the wedding in her head. Grandmother of the bride. Now there was nothing. My dad stopped talking to me altogether. Sent one text, very disappointed in the woman you've become. That was it. Nothing else. When I called, Mom answered and said he wasn't ready. I spent months trying to reach Ryan. Letters I left at his building. Emails from new addresses when he blocked the old ones. Showing up at the gym he went to, the coffee shop he liked, the park where we used to run together on Sundays. He looked through me like I was glass. Like I didn't exist. Once, when I tried to approach him at the grocery store, he turned his cart around and walked out, leaving his half-full basket in the middle of the aisle. I sent flowers to his office. They were returned. Sent a 10-page letter explaining everything, begging for a chance to talk. He sent it back unopened with a sticky note, moved on. Please do the same. But I couldn't. I was stuck. Watching his social media from fake accounts I created just to see proof he was alive. Watching him slowly reappear online. First just him. Then him with friends. Then him with a woman. Her name was Sophie. Brunette. Pretty in a natural way that didn't require effort. Smiling in his photos. His hand on her back in that protective way he used to touch me. At restaurants. At parties. At his friend's wedding where I would have been his +1. He looked happy. Lighter. Like a weight had been lifted. I wasn't eating. Wasn't sleeping. Lost 20 pounds I didn't have to lose, and people started commenting that I looked sick. My hair started falling out in the shower from stress. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. in a panic, replaying everything, seeing all the signs I'd ignored, all the choices that led me here. My mom started talking about therapy. Making appointments for me. Driving me there because she didn't trust me to go myself. The therapist asked what I wanted. Him back, I said. Ryan back. That's not going to happen, she said gently. What else? I didn't have an answer. Work finally let me go 6 months after everything fell apart. Position eliminated, they said, but I knew. I'd seen them hiring for my role 3 days later. I moved in with my sister and her husband because I couldn't afford the apartment alone. Slept in their guest room that would have been a nursery. Listened to them argue in whispers about how long I could stay. Heard her tell her husband that I'd made my bed. I was 29 years old, living in my sister's spare room, unemployed, no friends, no relationship, no prospects. Everything I'd had a year ago was gone. The man who loved me. The career. The future we'd planned. The respect of everyone who knew me. All of it traded for 3 months with a man who called me a mistake and blocked me like I'd never existed. I saw Ryan one more time. Ran into him completely by accident at a restaurant downtown. He was with Sophie. She was wearing a ring. Not the one he'd bought me. Something different. Something that was just hers. He saw me. I knew he did. Our eyes met for just a second. And then he looked away. Put his hand over Sophie's. Smiled at something she said. Didn't acknowledge me at all. I stood there frozen, watching the life that should have been mine. The man who should have been mine. Watching him be happy with someone who hadn't destroyed him. People ask if I've learned my lesson. If I'd do it differently. The truth is, I'd give anything to go back. To delete Tyler's number that first night. To tell Bree to shut up. To appreciate what I had before I torched it for something shiny and fake. To choose Ryan every single time. But you don't get do-overs when you blow up your life for someone who saw you as a late-night convenience between his real life. You don't get second chances with men who loved you enough to walk away when you showed them you didn't value what you had. You just get to live with it. Every single day. Knowing that you had everything and you destroyed it yourself. That everyone who warned you was right. That you chose this. I wasn't an upgrade. I was a downgrade. A secret. A mistake. Something to be used when his wife wasn't available and discarded the second it got complicated. I wasn't chosen. I was convenient. And by the time I figured that out, the man who actually chose me, who would have chosen me every day for the rest of his life, had already found someone who knew how to choose him back. The worst part isn't losing him. It's knowing I didn't lose him. I threw him away. And now I get to watch him be happy with someone who deserves what I destroyed.